How do you spell commitment? Or how do you spell someone who should be committed? It's more like it. Yes, yes, yes. My goodness. Good. Nice. Okay. Where am I? Yes. Yep. I was actually last one on the scene. Folks, here we go. 3 minutes to airtime. 3 minutes. Another delightful today, Tuesday. I meant to just say another delightful day, but where am I? Interviewing Noon Report Live. Folks, share, especially if you know someone. We have details. I have details on that. I mean, it just. Do I seem tired? Who's tired? It does. Does it really matter? You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. Thank you, David San Martino. Folks, thumbs up for David. Hmm, I don't believe so. All right, we're gonna be. We're live 2 minutes. 2 minutes to airtime as the crowd files in. Folks, thumbs up. Jacqueline Claire. Last night we dropped everything. Juan did not get home till after 1 o'clock. But listen, are we doing this or are we not doing it? Where's Roberta Farrell? Unknown. 2 minutes to airtime. 1 minute. 1 minute. Yes, yes, yes. Terrible. Terrible, terrible about what happened is what I meant. Who do I see? There's David. Yes. How about that, David? Two. It was a bad crash. That's exactly right. There's Kathleen. Thank you, Josh Allen Cooney. We're going to continue to promote that event. Great event coming up for that wonderful soccer team. Josh's son is very, yes, big time. There's Jerry. How about that, Lynn Miller? Yep, big time. And out of nowhere, Juan was ready to go to sleep early. There's Michelle. Hola. There's Ann. All right. Has anyone seen Roberta Farrell? Put her on a milk carton. Crying out loud. All right, we're live in a minute. At 12:06 on this Tuesday, you're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now remember, you can always listen online at the website, which is depetro.com. Dana Scholes checks in. Who would be tired? Why are you saying I'm tired? Because last night at 10:20, as Juan was ready to, start to prepare your nighttime ritual of sleep, um, boom. It's like in the movie Heat when Robert De Niro, Neil Macaulay explains. Guy told him one time, within 30 seconds, you're going to be able to boom go. I mean, we drop and go. Drop and go. So last night was an example of that. It's rare to have a homicide in Portsmouth. It is. Excuse me, folks. Sorry. I don't have a cough, no COVID cough. When one gets tired, we do it. But, to be live last night on the scene live stream, we've also uncovered something else, though. A lot of times we do first one on the scene live stream, which is the first one on. But also last night we saw the benefit of being last one on the scene live stream because, and I'm not knocking them. You saw it. If anything, there's safety in numbers. It was, there's always a little bit of a dicey situation. Sometimes when there's been a homicide, like there was last night in Portsmouth, people just, there's just a weird element that goes into the air. I'm telling you, you can just kind of feel it. And so people that normally would be rational are not rational. So, but what we realized last night is obviously, the news is restricted and the newscasts, yeah, I don't even know if they went live last night. But a lot of things happen outside of that. And a lot of times, even if they go live, they give them maybe 80 seconds, 90 seconds tops. We interviewed the police chief from Portsmouth at midnight last night, but it was worth it because we were the only ones that then had it. So the benefit of being last one on the scene live stream. And I do have more details about it. It's something that I have learned. Last night was all right, so it was late, because then as I was going to leave, a source wanted to make sure I knew the details and said, if you're going to come and go live, that shows to me that you're into the story. I want to make sure you have more information on other people. So now you're talking, you don't get home till after 1. So then you're wired, right? So now you're up till like 1:30, quarter or 2, what have you. And but then the next day rolls around. But I want to touch on, and I will give the latest on that. And there's a lot of different news, and I think there should be some accountability with some of this stuff. But one of the things I want to remind you on what is a delightful Tuesday week of weather is this portion of the program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Okay, the weather is terrific. Granted, we saw some rain on Saturday, no question about it, right? It was coming down, cats and dogs, so to speak. But today is a pleasant day, and then tomorrow, more of the same, even warmer. Look at this for Memorial Day weekend. Friday, 68 and sunny. Saturday, 72 and sunny. Ideal. How about Memorial Day? 75 and sunny. There's no rain in sight. A week from today, 73 and sunny, and next Wednesday, 80 degrees. Next Thursday, 84 degrees. At the weather station. Not now with the big one. No, but PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, folks, they have all of your. Jeff Camacho loves when I do a big one. Vegetables and herbs, annuals, perennials, hangers, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, 12-inch patio pots. Folks, Steve and Debbie and Junior and Byron, it's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, where they also have tropical hibiscus. They have a good Facebook page, so you can find them. But they're located right off of Route 4, right down the street from Tarbox Toyota. It's Steve, Debbie, Junior, Byron, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Great service, unique gifts. Hey, improve your property with PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, we do have the latest on Cranston PD Live. I'll have the Portsmouth info up on the website. Folks, visit the website, depetro.com. Brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge, for crying out loud. Have a shot every time Juan says hola. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. I wish someone would invite me into a lounge to have a few shots. But anyhow, all right. 11 minutes past 12. So here's what we know about. I just want to follow up on the Portsmouth story simply because we were there last night and we've learned more. So the information that that I learned was basically a landlord went to get money. This was 9 o'clock yesterday. Now, if you were there watching when we were live streaming, the woman that was there trying to get the dogs, she said it's just been such a stressful day, and the police were talking to her, right? So, and they were all concerned about those dogs. So what I have learned, and the suspect was in court. I can't be everywhere, but excuse me, landlord went to collect the money. And what have we been hearing, and I've been talking about? All of the progressive left and the Senator Tierra Max, right? And all of these progressives at the Rhode Island State House, greedy landlords. And you even had, they burned down an attorney that does evictions. And this is where there should be accountability for that Uncle Atheist, right? Elquist and Uprise. It's always the greedy landlords, and they broadcast, the eviction hearings, greed and billion, the whole thing. And they ratchet up the rhetoric towards anyone who's a property owner, anyone who is a landlord. You have Governor McKee, these greedy landlords raising the rent. Folks, when you keep repeating that to people, you had Raimondo during the pandemic. No one should pay their rent during this pandemic, these greedy landlords. It's atrocious. So think of this. A landlord goes to get his money yesterday at 9 o'clock. Now, it's either for the new month coming up or whatever. I don't know exactly the specifics. And the tenant who listens to the progressives, who listens to the Tierra Max, who listens to all of these individuals, right? AOC, Bernie Sanders, that is their mantra. The greedy landlord raising the rent, housing is a human right, housing is a human right, the whole thing. So he attacks the landlord with a hatchet and then just loses his mind. And I won't get into the gory details. Then tries to hide the body near the golf course. And then someone, who he confides to, who I won't get into, boy, you seem kind of off today. Well, I just killed the landlord. Now, he did admit, 24 years old, he did admit to police, this dirtbag. Folks, where is the accountability? All we hear about are the MAGA Republicans. All we hear about is the dangerous rhetoric and white supremacy. You know who's dangerous? The progressives that preach. And, these poor homeless people, these poor homeless, and it's the greedy landlord, the whole thing. So the suspect admitted he struck him with a metal object during an argument, being held without bail. Completely senseless. But I will tell you right now, there will not be proper accountability with that scene. The rhetoric that goes out, we already know that though, right? There's never accountability from that side, whether it is that socialists. You need to understand these people, they don't believe in our system of government. And I'm talking about the state senator Tierra Max, the socialists, that Enrique Sanchez, the Providence socialists, all of their ilk. Um, Everything with them, there were, and you hear this even with the crowd that Governor McGreed surrounds himself with, where they believe if you're a business owner, where do you get all, everything with them. If McKee had his way, he would just keep hiring people for state government, and I think Justin Katz, who we do with politics this week, he does a good job that they want everything. McKee, I can't even believe the damage this guy is doing to the state. And now his new ruse that I'm going to expose in just a moment. They're like the hell with private companies. We're just going to, everybody works for the state. Well, like everybody works for the state. Give the unions all the money they want. Just keep hiring people to state jobs. Yeah, the problem is the government money is running out. And what McKee is doing right now, and I'm telling you, there's going to be an investigation with these cannabises, because and no one will say it, but just to finish out the Portsmouth thing, we'll get the details. It's horrific. I think there should be accountability with the rhetoric from the left, this whole narrative of the greedy landlord, and there's nowhere to live, and the rents, and we're going to pay for their rents, which is ridiculous. McKee putting up sex offenders, drug addicts, pedophiles, all these people. With the taxpayers are going to pay for you to live at Motel 6. Time out. Time blanking out. According to what? How about McKee? This guy. And again, I get it. How about down the dial? Nope, no negative McKee talk because he's pals with Pork Boy and they're all on board with him. McKee, I'm going to take taxpayer money. I'm going to give it to the unions and they're going to build the most expensive low income housing you've ever seen. Like, what? No, there are developers for that. You don't take our blanking tax money. He absolutely is Governor McGreed. That is not the role. You set up a structure that developers come in with their money, and they build these things. But he's such a failure. He is such a disaster that no one, that's why, right? The taxpayers of Rhode Island would be more than happy to put up 100 million for a soccer stadium. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, let's have the most expensive minor league soccer stadium in the country. Said no one ever. Except it becomes union jobs and they got him elected and then they juice it up how much it costs to build it. Now keep in mind, there's no soccer stadium. Well, remember, what's the mantra? It's in the movie Goodfellas. The guy with the restaurant, what happens? Blank you pay me. Oh, business is slow? Blank you pay me. Oh, you had a fire? Blank you pay me. They don't care. You promised us money. We want our money. So what does Governor McGreed do? We're going to have the union laborers who are supposed to be building the soccer stadium. We're going to have them build this low income. Time again, time out. That's not your role. So he's giving them our money, 100 million. McKee saying to the voters, "Well, we have a problem because we promised them the money for the soccer stadium." Time out. Excuse me. We have a problem. What do you have, a mouse in your pocket? No, we don't have a problem, pal. Why don't you go back and play cards with your mother? Okay, you seem to be good at that. So because they can't get a soccer stadium, so now he's going to give them the money. What about you have developers? You have people that they build, that's what they do. So now they're competing with the state. So instead of just, hey, there's a market for that. There's a market for someone says, we're going to take our money and we're going to build housing and then we're going to either sell it or rent it out or, whatever. Oh, no, no. No, McKee's going to get involved with that. No, no, no. The state's going to get involved in that. I never agreed with anyone that's traveled. I remember several years ago, I was down in Orlando and their conventions, a lot of conventions are in Orlando, right? There's a lot of things to do. Aside from Disney and so forth, downtown Orlando has some good restaurants, shops. Obviously, the weather's ideal. People like to go somewhere warm. But what I noticed was you had private developers that were running these quote convention centers, and it's all in one, right? They have several pools. The place we stayed, there were 3 pools, and the property, they have restaurant bar, the whole thing. But my point is, it's privately owned, and they market themselves for, hey, come here, have your convention, business meeting, what have you here at our convention center. And they call it that because there's meeting spaces and there's ballrooms and there's all sorts of various things. So if you have a company that says, we're going to have our company retreat and everyone's going to stay and there's going to be meetings in the morning and then, at leisure, you go to breakfast, they have restaurants, place to eat right there on the premises. And then we're going to have a big award ceremony and it's all contained and you don't have to go anywhere. That's who they cater to. But look at what did the state do? Oh no, it's the Rhode Island Convention Center. And all they're doing, and I always come back from this, every time someone books an event there, it's someone who's not booking an event at the Biltmore or whatever we're calling it these days, or the Omni. Or, I went to a wedding many years ago at the convention center. And I'm thinking, what is the point of this? Like they're taking business away, or roads on the Patuxent, or wherever. All of those things. The state has no business being involved with this stuff. But McKee is just taking it to another level, right? They're going to start opening state restaurants, try to compete with, pick a place, Twin Oaks or whatever. Oh yeah, the state. We're going to call it McKee's, McKee and Ma. We're gonna start to. So you go and then the union people work there. Like what is this? And he's always touting himself. But I want to touch on that and the cannabis thing. But folks, good afternoon at 12:22. So just to put a mark on this, you hear about white supremacy is the most dangerous. I'll tell you what's dangerous is our democracy under attack has nothing to do with 2020. Democracy under attack is the person that's running the state right now because the unions stuffed the drop boxes with mail ballots. And that should have been Helena Folks. But instead, we get Governor McGreed. That's democracy under attack. And the same goes for Matos. They're going to try to pull the same thing. They're going to try, he wants her to win the congressional thing because then he gets to appoint a new lieutenant governor. Gee, I'm sure there's no strings attached there. Everything with this guy revolves around money and money. And if you're the commerce person, their real job isn't to try to lure big companies to come into Rhode Island. Their job is to hit up current companies for campaign donations for Governor McGreed. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro show is sponsored by AtMed Urgent Care. Now listen, if you need urgent care, AtMed Urgent Care, 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston. It's right in the Atwood Medical Center. In a second location, 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich, AtMed Urgent Care. Doctors and nurses, they're open 7 days a week. It's AtMed Urgent Care. Now, if you want to wait, if you want to take a loved one, a coworker, yourself to an emergency room and wait as long as you wait, then do that. Or you could go to AtMed Urgent Care. 2 locations. Doctors and nurses, I've been to both. It's faster, it's cleaner, it's more efficient. Don't have language barriers. If you understand what I'm saying. 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston, also 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich, AtMed Urgent Care. Folks, again, this portion of the John DePetro show is brought to you by Ryan's Appliance Repair. I received another nice email from Chris. Said that his refrigerator was not working properly. I think the refrigerator and the washing machine. So what did he do? Did he put them in the back of his SUV and lug them back to the? No, of course not. He called Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401-710-7096. When your appliance is dying, just call Ryan. Ryan's Appliance Repair. All makes and models. Saturday appointments are available. All work is guaranteed for 90 days, parts and labor. It's Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401-710-7096. Washer, dryer, refrigerator, stove, microwave, oven. Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401-710-7096. And just to finish the Portsmouth situation. Now, last night we did just a one after dark, and nothing had happened yet. And one of the things that I was talking about was that one of the elements of doing the live stream, and I was telling the crowd last night, and thumbs up. Thank you for the stars, by the way, during this noon report. If you caught One After Dark last night, it was mentioning that it's kind of comical that it's almost now like at least once a month we deal with these people. Thank God for attorney Tim Dodd. But we deal with these people of, you need to take the video down, right? And they contact me. And then, of course, my response is, no, we're not taking anything down. And then they get into the why. And the why always seems to revolve on, and it's all different types of situations, but it normally revolves around, for the most part, that I'm at a crime scene, right? First one on the scene live stream, Someone comes by the crime scene, then their friends or whatever, someone tells them, hey, you're on that video. This happened in Pawtucket. And then they contact me. And then they say, you got to take it down. Why do I have to? All right. So I'm at a crime scene on a public street, and I'm filming and giving people an idea of what happened, right? Why are all the police there, the crime scene tape? And then they always say, well, because I walked by and I didn't give you my permission to film me. And then I explained, listen, you're the one that walked by on a public street, a crime scene. We don't have to do that. And then they threatened legal action. We had I forget which one it was. I think it was the Washington Park one where the boyfriend gets involved, Tyrone. They're demanding money from the chosen one. We want 10,000. I love that. I want 10,000. How's it feel to want? Really? 9.5 is a no go, right? Can't come. No, no. Here's what you're getting. You're not getting anything, and the video is staying up. What part of that don't you understand? So anyhow, and then last night, if you were watching when we were at the Portsmouth scene, someone that was connected in some way, he starts making a big commotion. And oh wow, there's the guy, Jacob Morrell, faced the Newport District Judge. First degree murder. Zufeng Wu, killed with a metal object during an argument. So he's probably the Portsmouth man held without bail. Good. I would imagine this is going to come down to, self-defense. It was an argument. It certainly doesn't sound like that's what happened. But what was comical, if you did see last night, was these people start making a commotion, and this guy starts doing it again. Now, keep in mind, he is standing right at the tape in front of the crime scene on the street and starts saying to me, and I think it was the reporter, photographer from Channel 12, stop, you don't have my permission to film me. And he's making noise. And of course, I'm like, hey, screw. You're standing right. You couldn't be in more. The police are gathering evidence. Chief's on scene. You're walking right up in front. So the police come over and they start saying, officer, you tell them to start. And what did the Portsmouth police say? Hey, listen, they have every right to be there. They're just doing their job. So that's it. End of story. No more discussion. No more argument. And this idiot that was there last night says to the police, and we'll see you in court. He says to the police officer, now can you imagine they're investigating a homicide on the property? And we find out that whoever this poor guy was killed like yesterday morning. So this was going on all day. And then when they did a well-being check, I think at his home, is then when they found I don't know all the details, found his car somehow, then linked it to that property. But again, you get this idiot saying to the police, I'll see you in court. Can you imagine, like, of all the priorities they have to worry about, dealing with a homicide? And I heard it was a vicious, vicious, brutal killing. And then they have to deal with this type of foolishness. But it was worth it last night. As all the rest of the media had left, Juan stayed, last Juan on the scene. Although it is always good to leave when the police leave, because then we were able to get the Portsmouth chief. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Falcon Pest Services. Now, when I interviewed that landlord last week, and she talked about in some of these units, right, bugs, ants, that sounds like someone that needs to call Falcon Pest Services today. Free consultation serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. 401 739 1322. 401 739 1322. Falcon Pest Services. Termites, bed bugs, ants, roaches, mice, rats, mosquitoes, many other pests. Falcon Pest Services. All different types of programs, whether it is for once a month, once a year, once a quarter, once a week, for your restaurant. All right, so you have ants, roaches. Yeah, that's embarrassing. You know what's more embarrassing? Not doing anything about it, Harry. Call Falcon Pest Services today. Look for them on Facebook. 401 739 1322. FalconPestService.com. And also, the woman that was there last night, and is so concerned about the dogs, right? Like, whatever. So concerned. And that's what they're nagging the police on. Can we get the dogs? But she's another one. She is standing at the base of where there's a murder scene, a homicide. And she's saying, and I don't know the exact connection, so I'm not going to name names or anything, but if you caught it, she's like, saying to me in Channel 10 and Channel 12, it's disgraceful that you're here filming filming this crime scene. You know what's disgraceful is someone came here. Hey, listen, honey. You know what's disgraceful is someone came to the property yesterday and was murdered. Like these people are so delusional, and they're living in an imaginary world. Oh, really? That's what you find disgraceful? That someone came here to this property and then was beaten to death with a hatchet, and the guy was then raging and losing his mind and beating him beyond where you couldn't even identify who it was. But what you find disgraceful is not that that individual was then kind of trying to bury the body near the golf course. What you find most disturbing is that you can't get your dogs and that we're filming a homicide. Folks, that's what I'm talking about. Like these people are just nuts. They're lost. Now I'm going to talk about Governor McGreed and the dispensaries in just a moment. But I also, folks, want to remind you about our friends at Propane Plus. Now, listen, if you're a business and you use propane, maybe you're a restaurant, you use propane tanks outside, whatever it is, you can depend on Propane Plus. 401 885 4209. In Massachusetts, 508 252 3359. Propane Plus. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, they have a very user-friendly website. Go to their website and then just type in your zip code. And it's Propane Plus, residential or commercial. Always there for you. 401 885 4209 or Massachusetts 508 252 3359, right in Rehoboth. You can depend. Propane Plus heating and cooling. You know what else is interesting? Last night, now those of you that saw it, if you didn't see it, I will have it up on the website. It is on YouTube. John DePetro show on YouTube. It is obviously on Facebook. It was the On the Scene live stream, and we went late, right, past midnight into Tuesday. But if you did see it, the guy that was giving us a hard time, because we're there, God forbid, the media shows up because there's a homicide. But he was acting a little odd, and it's interesting because I don't know. There was just the way he kept going back and forth, and he was acting odd. And that's a busy road where the cars were, if you saw it, they come by at, 35 miles an hour, right around there. And there's just something about the way he was acting that I started to pay more attention to him. Because it's tough because you're trying to focus on the police and seeing who's arriving, who's coming, who's going, various things that they're collecting. And then I did get a message this morning of someone that lives right over there and said they could hear him telling someone, I'm tempted to push them, meaning us, into the road. So now he didn't do that, but it's just interesting. It just clicked where suddenly to me, the way he was, if you saw it, was pacing back and forth. It's just odd behavior. And then I learned from someone who lives right there, they could hear him telling someone, I want them out of here. I'm ready to push them. Like this is the foolishness you have to deal with when we're doing the On the Scene live stream. Now, I'm going to just sum this up for you. Um, and again, folks, good afternoon at 12:35. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Cranston PD Live coming up this Friday. Tomorrow night, we still need a name, but it'll be Juan and Mark. Tomorrow night, it may be 9 to 11. I think we may be out 9 to 11. I think so. Definitely next week as the weather gets better. And we're going to be going all Memorial Day weekend long. On the national front, the White House tries to calm Dems. Biden has no good options. Treasury asks agencies if payments can be made later. Ratings firm holds steady as the date approaches. Nowhere near a deal. Now, like everyone else, you don't want to see and LeBron hints at retirement. You don't want to see the the country default on debt and what it could mean. But at the same time, the spending in the form of government, and I'll just use Rhode Island as an example, folks. It's not our system. It's not sustainable. If you heard our segment with Justin Katz, politics this week, Justin is exactly right. That's the biggest problem. Is it's an unsustainable system, and all this outrageous spending. Look at in a normal scenario, there should be no budget item that McKee is paying the rent for these people at Motel 6. Period. End of story. That is ludicrous. He has no business. I'd like to see him argue that. And we're learning more and more. They're paying the rent of more people than we realize. Someone gave me a figure of 500 people because they just spread it out. It's not a matter of compassion. It's not. It shouldn't even be a matter of politics. It's a matter of it's basic fairness. It's our money. It's our taxpayer money. But this cannabis situation, I want you to understand. And when I mention the cannabis situation, you have the people that are against it. Okay, I get that. Um, I mean, I think they didn't handle things properly. No surprise. Um, I know some of the people that run the dispensaries. The state puts them through all kinds of hoops, all kinds of regulations, right? Gouging them on money. But you can identify it's here. It's a different. I don't think it's good. I don't. I don't think it. I mean, and anytime you're out and you have to go through a puff of it, it's just it's not pleasant. I think it is though, and I've been saying for a while, it's definitely a generational thing. It's not a big deal to people. But okay, it's here. But what people should accept and recognize. And I'm telling you right now on this Tuesday, May 23rd, and you're going to I know a lot of times people don't remember, but I am telling you. But what you have to agree on is the whole reason of this that Governor McKee won't let them advertise. Anyone that is making money, they expect money in return. And it's a big problem with the image of Rhode Island, the corruption of the state, the pay to play atmosphere, the atmosphere of if you want to do business there, you're going to pay them off. And I'm telling you right now, it was not a good sign. Governor McKee was just sworn in, took the oath in January for his 4-year term. As depressing as that sounds, yes, we are stuck with this individual, this spineless individual with no backbone until January of 27, whatever's going to be left of the state. As he's bringing in the injection centers, he's legalizing hard drugs. He continues to be a magnet for illegals. He's using taxpayer money for socialist communist things, paying rent, letting the unions interfere with private builders. It's just astronaut. It's really puzzling. But when he announced they're bringing Tony Silva, right, Mr. Third Person, Tony Silva wouldn't do that, Mr. And I get in the northern part of the state, former police chief, blah blah blah, thought about a certain way. Don't forget about that wetlands deal. But when they announced that Tony Silva was being brought on for the campaign, it's like, what campaign? You just got inaugurated in January. So you already need to start. But what it's really about is it's collections. That's really his role. Two people that he's brought in is that Jerry Shahazian, who's slippery, and I recognize most people don't know who he is, and Silva. But it's not about. Here's the part. It's not about someone that's going to run for office and then they start holding fundraisers. Their roles is more of making sure like people are it's like collecting. That's what it is. He's more of the way it was explained to me, Silva he's more of like a bill collector, but he has the power of the governor behind him. So it's not a matter because normally think about it. Let's just say Governor. First of all, Governor McKee. There's no guarantee that this guy is running for re-election. He's already been governor for 2 years. Now he's going to get a 4-year term. So he's going to do 6 years. He's definitely doing 6 years. Now, as I have explained to you, it's very possible he may think, I don't want to run again. However, the unions may tell him, oh, no, no, you're running again. Folks, you can't miss who's really running the show, right? I know a lot of people, they pay attention to national politics, the deep state, and these people that have these wild conspiracies. It's Obama, Bill Gates, Fauci, blah, blah, all these people behind the curtain, Soros. But what they miss, I actually, I don't believe any of that stuff. I don't. But what they miss is locally, it does work that way, that there are people behind the curtain in the form of the union bosses. And they're the ones that told McKee, you're going to appeal that truck toll. You're going to appeal it. Yeah, but we lost. You're appealing. They're the one that's told McKee, we're doing the soccer stadium. Well, that's a lot of money to ask for the taxpayers, 100 million. You're doing a soccer stadium. Then they went to him, you're doing the Superman building. That's a lot of money for the taxpayers to put up for this. You're doing the, now they're saying we're building those low income housing. So, but with the cannabis thing, what this is really about, it comes down to, and you watch, it's going to unfurl. It's a pay to play. It's they want money. McKee wants money from the cannabis people in order to allow them to advertise. Right? To allow them to advertise. You have to, how many times it is kind of reminiscent, the best example of some of these like mob bosses. Or if you watch Breaking Bad, Gus Frame, his first partner, what happened to the guy? Right? Don Lalo. What happened to Gus Frame and Breaking his first partner? They didn't get permission to start producing the meth. So they whacked him. This is a matter of like, yeah, you want to advertise. What's in it for us? What do we get out of it? This whole cannabis, it's all about they're trying to extract money, right? You see this in politics. Years ago, if you remember, when Bill Gates and Microsoft and big tech had to go into Washington, what it was really about was not that they were really breaking any laws with Microsoft or anything. It's because Congress wanted hey, where's our money? You're making a fortune out there in Silicon Valley. You need to hire lobbyists. You need to start donating to campaigns. Where's our money? At the time, Microsoft, big tech, Silicon Valley, remember the .com? They weren't paying anything. They weren't paying anything in Washington. And then suddenly it's like, no, 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 no. You want to do business, you gotta pay us. That is exactly what is happening here. It's not that the cannabis people, they made that guy take down the billboard. There's nothing wrong with the billboard. He has every right to put up a billboard. So and McKee uses Department of Business Regulation, and the next thing, if they don't get the way, they're going to use the IRS to go after him. He abuses his office to shake these people down. Now he's got Silva in. I think Silva's an attorney. I think he's an attorney. He's definitely obviously former police chief. So they know how to operate within the confines, right, of basically normally in the confines under the law, right? Godfather, Tom Hagen, goes out, West Coast. He wants to get Johnny Fontaine in that film. He knows enough to say, okay, I've enjoyed my meal, right? Waltz, enjoyed my meal. If your car will take me to the airport, I didn't threaten you. He's an attorney. He represents one client, Don Corleone family. He knows exactly where he can go without crossing the line. Because he would be asked, or the Waltz character would be asked, did he threaten you? No. Okay, you had dinner. Then what happened? He politely thanked me for the dinner and then left. Now, the guy wakes up with the head of a horse in his bed. But in the guise of that, Tom Hagen, Robert Duvall knew exactly how to play it. So okay, you run this cannabis thing. Um, where's our money? Did you get the? We sent you some campaign tickets in the mail, or somebody dropped it off, or like, do you think we're just going to let you advertise? Folks, this is why businesses don't want to come in here. And I fully get that not everybody gets that. But it's all by design. Like Bally's, right? Lincoln down Twin River, whatever we're calling it. Like they get it. They go along in the form of anytime they're going to do a project, they don't even question. They have to go with these union laborers that are going to build the whole thing. All right, you're paying somewhere, juice it up, cost by 25%, but that's a form of corruption. In other states, they could take bids, go with the lowest bid, see who they bring people in, whatever. It doesn't work that way. So with the cannabis people, because think about it, you go on, it's not like there aren't cannabis billboards on 95. There are, but they're Massachusetts ones. And in a way, I don't know exactly when that happened, but McKee, they were probably asleep at the switch and didn't see when that was happening. Because now what are they going to do? Now are they going to go to them and say they've been breaking the law? They've been up for 2 years or whatever. Okay, so they screwed up and they let the Massachusetts dispensaries put up billboards, but they're not going to make that mistake twice. So right now, like, does that make sense to anybody? Just step back for a moment. So you drive down 95 and you see billboards, dispensary advertisements for Massachusetts cannabis operations. But a Rhode Island one can't put up a billboard. I mean, that's of course, here's the thing. Of course it doesn't make sense because it's not about making sense. It's about they want their money. And with this, I have no sympathy for him and his crew. I mean, we will be so much better off when the FBI and the U.S. Attorney finally pull the trigger and just indict the whole McKee crime family. I mean, it's just so out of control at this point. They're so blatant about it. Well, we have to check. If you're the Pawtucket cannabis, think of that. He's saying, hey, I'm not advertising a product. I'm just advertising my location. That's it. No, no, it's got to come down. Now, what the real answer is, unless you pay us, you're going to have to, it's going to have to come down. That's what it is. And they're holding them in limbo because you think about it. When would these operations really make the most money? Summertime. People are outside, people are on vacation, people are in their backyard, people are at the park. This is like having the beer companies in handcuffs. Beer companies, whoever, they make the bulk of their money Memorial Day to Labor Day. Fenway Park, hot, summertime, 4th of July, barbecues, cookouts, picnics, whatever. They make money all year round, but that's when they really make money. And they make money, during the football season and Super Bowl, don't get me wrong, but the bulk of their money, people are out on boats, people are on vacation, it's hot out, and they're consuming the most beer. So what they're doing is the cannabis goes hand in hand. And so the real season for these cannabis operators is going to be the summertime when people want to, chill out, bone up on vacation. We're going to go to Block Island. We're going to grab some weed for the week, whatever the hell, right? And so there's no other rational explanation. I mean, it's just so preposterous. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro show, speaking of summertime, by the way, is brought to you by Limitless Outdoors. Call them today, 401 580 1852. Limitless Outdoors. Get a free quote. Rhode Island, You can find them online, is what I want to say, at limitlessoutdoorsri.com. Now they're based in Smithfield. It starts with a discussion. If you call Chris at 401 580 1852, 401 580 1852, Limitless Outdoors, they will come to your home. Okay, let's see the property we're talking about. Let's take a look at your yard, outdoor space, patios, walkways, steps, outdoor kitchens, landscape lighting, retaining walls. How about an outside kitchen? If you want to add on to your home, I get that, but materials are really expensive, and there's also a delay. You have to go through zoning and permits. Why not have a room you could use outside, and you're going to use it from now till, you know, through Thanksgiving? Limitless Outdoors. Remember, their slogan is dream, build, enjoy. Dream, build, enjoy. Limitless, because it is limitless outdoors. 401 580 1852. How about a nice outside kitchen? People have flat screen TVs, they have a fire pit, they have a fireplace. Limitless outdoors. And people like to say, it's great. Summertime, it's nice and shaded. We have falcon pests, so we have no bugs. We enjoy ourselves. It's like having an extra room. Limitless outdoors. Well, folks, good afternoon. At 12:53, you're listening to the John DePetro show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I also want to mention, I am actually, it was taken aback, the bashing that Celtics coach, I don't do a sports show, but the Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla, I mean, his own station, the station that carries the games, calling him a joke. He's a young guy. I knew his dad. I've interviewed him. Hendricken grad. The Celtics moved very quickly, and he got tossed into a tough situation. But I can't believe the bashing he's getting from, because Belichick doesn't get that type of bashing, and some of the past Celtics coaches, whether it's Brad Stevens or Doc Rivers, whatever, they didn't get this type of bashing. Terry Francona, little bit during the whole chicken wing thing in the clubhouse, that was problematic. But I think the bashing that Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics head coach, is getting right now, I just don't think you've heard that since Grady Little, right? We all watched in real time 2003 as Grady Little left the mound and left Pedro in there and blew the game um, against the Yankees. And then it cost Grady Little his job. With Mazzulla, I think it's unfair to be bashing him in this way, because ultimately, if there are guys that are not running with the Celtics, but as I said earlier, I mean, this is, you're talking about 25 and 26-year-old guys, and they're making, through salary, endorsements, north of 40 million more. Do they care? Like, do they really care? All right, so it wasn't our turn. Maybe next year will be our turn. They're not making any less. All right, so we lose to the Miami Heat. And we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe next year we'll win it. Is anybody really upset? There's always going to be another game. Hey, I want to remind you, though, on this Tuesday about Yankee Tree. Ken reached out to me, said, Juan, who's the tree company you recommended? And it's Yankee Tree. Now, I have dealt with them for years, and they're terrific. They're based right in Lincoln. Yankee Tree, 401 439 6028. Tree trimming experts in Lincoln. Maybe you have too much shade in your backyard. Maybe you have some dangerous trees. I'll tell you, they have a licensed arborist. When I've had them, they've actually come out to my property and with a licensed arborist. And I've thought, I think I want to have this tree removed because we have a lot of trees. And then after I've talked to them, they say, that tree is actually okay because it's not going near the house. But this tree is problematic. So they don't just come and do it. And they're licensed and insured. And it's tree removal. If you want, they'll do the stump grinding. Sometimes you just need a tree pruned. They get right up in the bucket truck. I am so impressed by their work. Rob and his crew at Yankee Tree, they are the real deal. I had a tree removed just recently. I mean, 2 hours. 2 hours. You would never even known they were there. And the cleanup is first rate. I mean, they cover their tracks very well. Yankee Tree. Call them today, 401 439 6028. Just call them. Free quote. Hey, maybe you end up not having the tree taken out, but at least talk to them. 401 439 6028, Yankee Tree, and online at yankeetreeservice.com. Well, folks, good afternoon. At 12:57, you're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Remember, you can always listen online, as we like to say, at the website, which is depetro.com. And also, who was it? It was Beth that said she wants to get her grandfather's driveway paved for, or I think for Father's Day, and asked me who's that company that I recommend. I recommend J. Perry Paving. I mean, they're the best, high quality, fair pricing. They grind it, right? J. Perry Paving, free estimate. 401 732 1730 makes a huge difference how your house looks or your parking lot for a business. If you have a brand new paving driveway, J. Perry Paving, licensed and insured. Maybe it's a brand new paving project. Maybe it just needs to be refreshed like a cracked driveway. J, letter J, J. Perry Paving, 401 732 1730. I share a lot of their work on Facebook just because it's first rate. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Well, folks, good afternoon, 12:58. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. Now, again, if you'd like to see some of our video of Cranston PD Live, go to YouTube and you just put in John DePetro Show. Boom. You can subscribe to the page. It's free, and then you get alerted every time that one of the videos pops up. And we have a lot of video there that I don't have for different reasons on the Facebook page. Some police body cam stuff, some of the other police stuff, but it's a happening. Check it out on YouTube. John DePetro Show on YouTube. Our YouTube growth just continues to get larger and larger, and then obviously in conjunction with the Facebook. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. We have a lot more to go. Next hour, you'll hear Donna Perry. We're going to talk about this situation that's taking place right now, also with Tim Scott jumping into the race. I think that's interesting, and a lot more of excuse me, of our news of the day. I will be doing Facebook Live later, but what we're going to do next hour is radio only, AM 1380, 99.9 FM, and you can listen online at the website, depetro.com. The Power Hour is next. We're back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.